discrimination. We do not talk to people rudely. If you have any opinion that is not as, or it's not the same as the opinion of another person, we would need to come to a consensus. If we don't come to a consensus, we don't need to speak rudely to any other person. So respectful communication is quite key for us in this meeting. And all recordings, as previously said, would be shared after the training. So a few moments back, we conducted a training needs analysis, training needs identification analysis, where we shared some links to certain people. Now we are using, well, of course, this is not the response from everybody that registered for the training, but we are using this as a sample data to build the basis of our training. So as you can see, those that we have HR analysis experience, most of our respondents are in the space of the beginner and the novice. Only a few of us are intermediate. So 50% of my respondents are novice, 39% of my respondents are beginners, and 11% of my respondents are intermediate. So for the intermediates, this might seem a little slow for you because I'm putting into consideration my novice and beginner respondents. Of course, I'll be putting you two into consideration, but just because we have them here, a few of them do not know how to go around Microsoft Excel that much. So we would be taking it bit by bit. And then for the department, of course, you can see the HR department has a higher percentage of 88.89. And then we have some people in the banking sector and then other people in verification and background. I think verification and background is also a unit in the HR department. So for preference, the reason why we are actually doing this live session, we were contemplating between a pre-recorded session and a live session, but the reason for the live session is because of the response that we got. Now, this is to give you an insight into how data works. Now, data has already, we have gathered our data, we have worked on it, and then we've gained insight as to what our customers want or what the participants or respondents want and how they want us to design the training, which is why this training is being done. Now you can see people have, okay, in the topics, more persons want to see HR metrics and key performance indexes, and compared to others who want to see, who are interested in HR software tools for analysis, employee turnover analysis, data collection, and analysis techniques. So in the course of this training, we will be looking at all of these topics, all right? But then we'll just pay more attention to metrics. I'll be sending you a document after this particular training that contains key HR metrics, even business-wide HR metrics. If you're looking forward to become a business analyst or an HR analyst, you would need this particular metrics to help you going forward. So what is data and how do we describe data? So I want to know the level of understanding that you have in regards to this topic. So if you have any idea as to what data is, kindly drop it in the chat. Let me test the knowledge of my participants. Can you just, it might not be perfect, it might not be good, it might not be, what the Google is saying, but I just want to see if we have an insight as to what data is. I'm still waiting for us to drop our chats before we start. Kindly tell me what you think data is. Okay, Paul Abba is typing. I need you guys to. Okay. Okay, Paul Abba says data is a collection of items. Paul Abba says data is a collection of items. Correct. Although that's not the word that I'm looking for, but then it's still correct. Because data includes items, it includes quite a number of things. Numeric. Yes, data is raw facts. Yes, data can also be called raw facts. Okay, so I think Paul Abba and Ololade Akinshiwaji. All right, so you guys are actually quite correct. So because we don't have much people responding, we are going to be moving on regardless. Okay, so what is data? Now, this statement here, according to Jim Bergerson, it says data will talk to you if you are willing to listen. Data will talk to you if you are willing to listen. That doesn't mean that data has a voice that speaks just as the Lord speaks. But what we are trying to explain here is that data is a process of gaining insight. The insight that you are going to be getting from data is the voice of data. Not that while you are analyzing data, you'll be hearing the voice of data telling you this is what it is, this is how it is done. You need to process, you need to refine, you need to transform, you need to beat data down before you can hear its voice. Now, the reason why it says data will talk to you if you are willing to listen. Now, the willingness to listen here is your capacity to actually analyze this data. A data can be in numeric form, right? It can be in text, it can be in pictures. Okay, let me give an example here. Let's say there is a fight in where should I use? Let's say there's a fight in Ogombo Road, for example. And for us and if you're going to, let's say, Victoria Island, for example, you need to go through Ogombo Road. Your normal route is Ogombo Road, but you went on Twitter and then you checked and people are saying on Twitter that, oh, a fight broke out, people's shops are burning, people are breaking people's heads. Because Ogombo is your normal route, now you've checked Twitter, you've seen data in text, you've seen data in pictures, because people have sent pictures, people have texted, and you've seen that, oh, there is a fight breaking out at Ogombo Road. That data that you have gotten from Twitter automatically has given you that insight that you're not supposed to pass Ogombo. Now you can take the second route, which is the normal Lekki Ajah Express. Although you might get to office late, but then the data you have gotten from the news on Twitter has helped you to realign your journey for that day and manage risk. So the purpose for data could also be for risk management. So let's see a simplified definition of what data is. Now, it says data can be defined as raw facts, as Ololade defined, as she expressed, sorry. Data can be defined as raw facts, figures, or information that is collected. You see why I said Paul is actually correct one way or the other. Data can be defined as a raw fact, figures, or information that is collected, stored, and processed for various purposes. Now, I want us to look at this particular, these three separate sentences: collected, stored, and processed. Now, data cannot be stored or processed without being collected. Data that are collected and not stored cannot be processed or refined. Data that are collected, stored, but not processed cannot be used. Do we understand? So if I collect the data, for example, and I don't store it, how do I want to gain insight from it? If I collect the data, I store it, I don't analyze it, how do I use it for my customers? How do I use it for operations? How do I use it for whatever insight I want to gain? How do I use it? So the purpose of data is for you to collect data, you store the data, you process the data, you beat it down, you use it for the purpose of which you want to use it, and then you can now gain insight from it. So as you can see here, just as explained previously in the last slide, data can take many forms, including numbers, texts, images, multimedia, and so many forms. So many forms. Now, if data is in its raw form, there is no use for data in its raw form. It has no meaning. Data that is in its raw form is not organized. Data that is in its raw form is not analyzed. Data that is in its raw form cannot be interpreted until data is beat down, reformed, realigned, transformed before it can now interpret and before you can now extract insights from it. Now you'll be hearing me use this particular term, informing of decision making. That's the major purpose of data. You remember at the beginning, I gave an example of if a fight broke out at Ogombo Road. You using Twitter, getting data from Twitter has helped you to make decisions to not go through Ogombo Road. If not, you're either going to lose your car, lose your life, get burned, lose some of your items. So because you've been able to analyze, able to come to concrete decision that route is not favorable for you. Okay, so we have types of data now. As you can see, we have numeric data here. So numeric data can come in form of temperature readings, e.g., example, you can have, let's say, for example, you go to a hospital, yes, and you want to go for checkup, or you have malaria, you want to go for checkup. There is this device they use to check your temperature. So once they check your temperature, the data that is gotten from that device is what they will use to decide or prescribe medicines for you. So if your temperature is low, they will tell you, oh, you are not running temperature. Okay, let's use COVID period or COVID era, for example. The major what's it called? The major trait to say that someone has COVID or is prone to have COVID is consistent high temperature. So if you go to the hospital, they take your temperature and they see, oh, it's reading above, let's say 75 degrees or 100 degrees, then they know that there's an issue. So that data is in numeric form. Sales figures is also a numeric data. Stock prices is also a numeric data. For HRs, age range is a numeric data. Let's say training cost is a numeric data. Employees net is a numeric data. Payee is a numeric data. Statutory deductions is a numeric data. Now, data can also be in form of text, which is customer service review, training needs identification, email messages, social media posts, like example of the Twitter and the Ogombo fight that I was given insight into. Now, it can also be in categorical data. Categorical data means, sorry, if you're not in the HR sector, I might be using more of HR parlance. If you are not aware of it, or if you don't really know much of it, you can give a chat so that I can explain. So categorical data, you can say breakdown of grades, breakdown of locations, because you see, let's say, for example, you have a total of 50 staff. Categorical data will tell you that, oh, we have 10 staffs in Lagos, we have 20 staffs in Ogun State, we have 5 staffs in the head office, and so on and so forth. So those are examples of categorical type of data. We also have job titles, managers, engineers, accountants, etc., etc. Now we have audio data. I don't think I need to go into that. Data can also be in form of audio, voice notes. All right. So we also have image data. That's very much explanatory. And then geospatial data. Geospatial data, a core example of geospatial data is GPS coordination or maps. Now, one major company that uses this is the Google Map. Now, Google Map depends a lot on their customers' GPS coordinates. The reason why Google is able to tell you that there's traffic on a particular route is because of the amount of data that they have been able to get. And now the data that they get, data cannot be collated or gotten if they do not, if customers do not use their service. And now if customers would continue to use their service as long as they are able to get data and review their system in favor of their customers. So you see how data works. Data is collected, reviewed, worked on, and then the insight that is gotten is used to make the system and the operation of the company better so that customers can use it more. So that's an example of geospatial data. So we would be moving on to the next topic, which says the vitality of data in modern business. Please tell me if you can still see my screen. I want to know if I'm talking to everybody or if I'm not talking to myself. Please let me know if you can hear my voice, if you can still see my screen. Okay, you can still see my screen. Thank you very much, Damilola. Yes, thank you very much, Steve. So the vitality of data in modern business. The first purpose, the number one purpose for data. Please, can we stay muted so that others can hear us? Thank you very much. So the number one purpose for data or analyzing data or even collecting data at the beginning is to help with informed decision making. Informed decision making here, it helps us to understand that data provides, organizations, businesses with valuable insights. I will keep using these terms 1 million times before the training is over. Now, it provides valuable insights that informs strategic decision making at all levels of organization, be it small, medium enterprise, be it large scale enterprise. Whether you are determining market trend or you are determining market demand, or you are trying to optimize supply chain operations, or you are allocating resources, whatever thing you are trying to do. Let's say you are an organization that is a consulting firm, for example, a consulting firm that focuses on recruitment, and you are saying you want to gather and you don't work with data. Do you understand? How would you know which particular recruitment source or which particular, yes, let's say recruitment source you need to fund more money into? If you are a recruitment firm and you are putting more money into, let's say, don't let me use referrals. Let's say you're putting more money into LinkedIn, and more of your well-performed staffs are coming from, let's say, Hot Nigerian Jobs, for example. You've gotten a lot of talent from Hot Nigerian Jobs, but you're still pumping more money into LinkedIn. I'm not saying LinkedIn is not a good place. This is just hypothetically speaking. Now, if you're pumping more money into LinkedIn, you're not going to be getting as much, benefits of the value that you are putting into LinkedIn. So collection of data, analyzing your recruitment data, understanding how the recruitment KPI works or the recruitment metrics works would help you to know what data to analyze, to be able to know how to make use of your value, or how to make use of the money that you are spending into LinkedIn. The moment you start, you rescale and you put money that you put in LinkedIn into, let's say, Hot Nigerian Jobs, which is where you get a lot of people, then you will see that you'll be getting more value for your expenses. So data helps with making informed decision making. It also helps with customer understanding. It is customer centric. Now, the reason why I put this here, I want to use Chowdeck as an example, or any food delivery application. Now, you will see over time, the current interface of Chowdeck or Glovo is not the same interface as it used to be. You will see now that, let's pick one. Let's use Glovo. Glovo is well known by everybody. Now, if you used to use Glovo in the earlier years when they started, you would see that their options are not as much as the options they have now. The information that they've gotten over time, data that they've gotten over time, has helped them to re-strategize. It has helped them to create a new business behavior, understanding of their customers' preference. You cannot tell me that as a food delivery service company, you are focusing, let's say you're focusing on both island and mainland, and you are telling us as a customer that we would get our food in less than 20 minutes. And I'm on the mainland, for example, and I am ordering for, let's say, spaghetti and turkey. I love spaghetti a lot. And I'm telling you that, okay, I want to order spaghetti and I need my food in less than 20 minutes. And I stay on the mainland. Let's say I stay at Yaba for, no, Yaba is even still close to the island. Let's say I stay around Bega, right? And I'm telling you, I need my food in less than 20 minutes. You've gotten my data, you've gotten my request. But instead of you to now select a restaurant that is on the mainland, can we stay muted, please? Can we stay muted? Hello, can we stay muted, please? Oluwatumininu.
Yes, so sorry.
Yeah,
I didn't know I was unmuted.
No problem. Just stay mute for us. Thank you very much, Tumininu. Okay, so you have received my data as per request, and I stay on the mainland. You know I stay on the mainland. If you bring or make or send my purchase to a restaurant on the island that is taking me 40 minutes, the journey from the island to Bega would take you 40-45 minutes to get to Bega. So you've gotten my data for request. You know that I am on the mainland, and you now order food or place my request to, let's say, Black Bell that is around Lekki, for example, you send my request to a restaurant at Lekki. Before they will prepare, pack, send for delivery, it will take 10, 20, 30 minutes. Before it gets to me, it's taking 1 hour. So because you've not been able to understand my preference, it has led to you losing the customer. I could decide to continue using you. I could decide that, oh, no, I'm not using you anymore because of the experience that I have had. Now, Glovo will now work towards the data received and now say, oh, I think we need to break down or separate our orders. For those that are on the island, let their interface or let the available restaurants for them be restaurants that are on the island. For those that are on the mainland, let the available restaurants be restaurants on the mainland so that they can be able to prove, because organizations, I tell you something, organizations holds core their values, their value proposition, they hold core their mission statements. So if an organization is telling you that their mission statement is to deliver food to you in less than 20 minutes, that is how they are going to make their data work for them. So data can be customer understanding. It needs to be customer understanding. For HRs, for example, let's say you are a work-centric kind of organization. And in this time, you have organizations that are putting gyms into organization. You have organizations that are doing TGIFs. You have organizations that are doing or carrying out end of the year sessions, employee engagement, and so on and so forth. So as an HR person, you have gathered data. You've seen. Now remember, the reason why data analysis is done, or the reason why HR data analysis is done, there is because there is a problem that has been seen. You don't carry out analysis without a problem. You don't just carry out analysis because, oh, I just feel like carrying out analysis. I want to just be displaying data charts and so on and so forth. You carry out analysis because you've noticed a problem. Now, how do you notice problem? You can notice problem from performance of staff. How do you get performance from staff? You can get it either using the software, or if you are still using paper form, you can get that. You can get insight from doing what's it called? Putting out questionnaires and surveys. That's the word I'm looking for. You can get insight by putting out surveys. So you carry out survey, you get insight into the problem. So if your problem for the staff, then they're telling you that, oh, the workplace is too strict, we're not getting enough work-life balance, or they're coming to work Mondays to Fridays, instead of them staying at home and putting more into work and spending less, you're making them come to the office. So you gain insights like that as an HR. Now, your next responsibility is going to be to work with the data that you have gotten. Now, remember that the external customers are not only your customers. You have customers internally, which are your staff and your stakeholders. Hello?
Hello.
I can
Hello,
hear
please
you.
make sure that
can hear you.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Okay. So if you say, for example, that so if you say, for example, now that you've gotten all of this data and then you now neglect it, you tend to lose more people, because people are more interested in work-life balance mode than they are in anything. People can spend money. I mean, people can stay with you for years, satisfied with, I mean, the processes of the organization. So how do you now get this insight from survey? After you've gotten the survey, you now work towards creating a business case. Now, the business case will now be around helping your customers, which are your staff, to create a work-life balance. Build the business case. Tell the management that, oh, these are what you have gotten over time, and your customers are not satisfied, and you want to be able to remember, if you're building a business case, there's a process to it. You cannot just go and meet the board and tell them that, oh, I just want staff to start working from home 3 days. You need to display data. That's why data collection is very essential. So this is a very key aspect of of data or HR data analysis. Now, sorry, I want to. All right. So the next point that we have here is operational efficiency. Operational efficiency in this term means it helps you to properly work around optimizing your business processes and improving your operational efficiency. Optimizing business processes here means you are analyzing, it's by analyzing operational data, you can now identify where inefficiencies are. You can identify and streamline workflows. You can reduce costs, which is the example that I gave from the recruitment frame, using the recruitment frame for an instance. So you can be able to reduce costs. You can be able to understand how your process flow works. You can realign your process flow. Now, look at the global example. The data that they've been has helped has changed. Ecosystem has become more expand. Now, from the expansion of that ecosystem, you now need to now work on more talents. The same people that make delivery on the island are not the same people that do the delivery on the mainland. You need to get more hands. You've gotten the insights, you've changed the processes, you have improved operational efficiency. Now, what are you doing towards making sure that that's operation, the efficiency is leading to effectiveness? Do you understand? So you created room for efficiency. Now, how do you put hands, talent, you maintain, the same state for now for that to come up, you would have realized that that must have been gotten. There's the data that must have been analyzed. People must have complained to customer service. I came to collect my ATM. I was in the office for more than 5 hours, and then to be received by text. Now, you can also receive customers' review. Has now helped them to come to the business decision that they need to create a way or a means for people, their customers, to get ATMs without having to queue, without having to come in
We can't hear you.
Okay. All right. So I think there was a network glitch from my end, so I had to reconnect. So I hope you can hear me now. The person that complained that he couldn't hear me before. Please, I need us to be quite interactive. I need to know where the problem is. Okay, Priska said she can hear me. I know Steve was about to talk. Steve was about to talk.
I can hear you now.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Samuel. So I'll be sharing the slide again so that we can. All right, so can you all see my slide? Let me go back to where we were. Okay, so can we all see my slide?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you very much, Samuel.
Thank you very much.
Ofu Kesh. I don't know if that's if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but I think you should reload if you can't hear me or see me. All right, thank you very much, guys. So we are going to continue now. So just like I was saying, risk management is one of the major means of, reasons why data is being analyzed and data is being worked on. If you are trying to minimize a number of attritions that you have, if you're trying to minimize number of dissatisfaction, employee dissatisfaction that you have, data is a way to work around that. You cannot tell me that as an HR person, you are working towards you are trying to fulfill the aim of the organization and you're not working with data. They have left you, organizations will leave you in the past. Organization will leave you in the dust. The organization is changing, the processes are changing, and you would need to consistently is the word, not once in a while, not a few times. You need to consistently work with HR data. You need to work with employee data. As an HR analyst, you are not also going to be working with HR data alone. You are going to be working with departments that assist in putting up your data, like the finance. If you have an investment team, you would work with your investment team as well. If you have ICT, you would also be working with your ICT team. If you have operations, so as an HR analyst, you are working everywhere. So don't think that as you are taking up the role or position of an HR analyst, you're only going to be working with just HR data. It's not possible. All right, you would be working on all round aspect of employee data. So I want to know, which slide are you guys seeing? Are you seeing the introduction or you are seeing the vitality of data in modern business?
From my end here, I can see the slide showing the vitality of data in modern business.
Okay. All right. I wanted to be sure because I'm connecting from two devices. I don't want, in case anyone messes up, I can switch to the other. Okay. All right, so we have treated the vitality, understanding the vitality of data. The reason why we are treating this particular topic is so that we don't just jump into analyzing data or knowing how HR data works. Samuel, please, can you mute? Thank you very much, Samuel. So the reason why we are treating this topic is for us to understand why data collection and data, transformation is very important. Now to ask, I want to know, did we all receive the data sample on the Microsoft Excel sheet that was sent? There was an email that was sent to each and every one of us having the Excel sample. So I want to know if we all got it.
I'm not sure I got it.
Steve is saying he did not. Isabella said yes, they got. I think the reason is because you maybe because you didn't register or use the registration link. But regardless, I'll try to see if there is a way I can, put it up here. Okay, all right. You know what? I'm going to be attaching it to. Okay, Olalade also says she didn't receive it. Okay, so I'll be attaching it here so that we can have it All right. Okay. Give me a moment. Just give me a moment. Because I don't want a situation whereby we have to now start going over again to go through the data. Okay. Just a moment. Okay, can we see the file now? There's a file attached. Can we see the file? In case you didn't get it, you need to download that file on your system. Open it before we get to the aspect of working with the Microsoft Excel. All right, so moving forward. So we understand the purpose and vitality of data in modern business. Now, how do you know your organization is a data-driven organization? How do you know that your organization is not stuck in the world of using paper or making decision from guts, or making decision from experience, or making decision from just having normal conversations? Now, one way to know is by data-informed decision making. The reason why this is very important, I've told you at the beginning of the training that I would keep repeating this word, this particular decision making, informed decision making. Now, the real way you can know if your organization is data driven is if decision making is formed from data. Your decisions need to be regularly made based on data analysis or data insight, rather than relying on intuition or experience, as I've previously said. Now, there's a difference between making decisions based on gut. There's a difference between making decisions based on data. There's this popular saying that in God we trust, the rest of you can bring data. I trust in God. Everybody else trusts in whichever God you are worshiping. But for me to trust in what you are saying, or for me to rely on the information you are giving me, you need to bring data to me first before I can make decision. Do you understand? So the reason why you know that your your organization is data driven is if decision made are informed, or insights are gotten from data to inform decision making. Another way to know is data accessibility. Now, accessibility of data means that employees across different locations, different departments can have access to relevant data and analytics to support their decision-making process. Now, as an HR person that is looking forward to transit into the into the analytics world, if you work for an organization that does not give room to express, if you work for an organization that does not give room for you to experiment on data tools, if let's say your organization is not using Excel, for example, how do you think decisions are going to be made? That's when you now see staff start complaining that, the management is being biased, the management is making biased decision, they are favoring the minority to the majority. The reason why you need to work on data, is to help to avoid all these kind of statements. Now, if your organization is not the type of organization that gives room for data accessibility, then you know that you guys are stuck in the past. Another form or another way to know that your organization is a data-driven organization is by the quality of their data and their data governance. Another way to know is data quality and data governance. Now, for that, if you guys have, I don't know if most of my participants have compliance officers or IT governance or HR governance or any quality testing department that helps to question the quality of data, question the accuracy of data, and the integrity of that data that is collected. Now, if your organization does not have a body that does that, then there is an issue. If all of you just relies on one person's data, then there's a problem. That person can forge data, can manipulate data in his own favor, and the whole organization is working with it. So if your organization does not have a data quality and governance body, then there is a problem. I'll give you a minute. Some people are trying to join. Let me admit them. I don't want it to. All right. So moving forward, if your organization also has a data culture, and data culture here is giving more insight into a style of culture of curiosity and experimentation. I used experimentation in the previous term because it also, they can be used intertwined. It could work in terms of data culture, it could work in terms of data quality and governance. Now, if your organization does not create a culture for curiosity and experimentation, as previously said, where employees are now encouraged to explore or leverage data, then you know that there's a problem in the system. People who use or are still stuck in the paper style, even paper form of functioning or paper form of efficiency, still needs data collection. They still use data collection. So for you to now know that your system is not even using data at all, then you know that there is no culture, there is no quality and governance, there's no data accessibility, you're not even gathering data at any point. All of the decision that is made is just based on, oh, I have the experience, so it is this one that we are going to use. Or I have my intuition, my mind is telling me that, okay, this one is the one that we're going to use because we used this one the last time it worked. We will use this one again and it will still work. Do you understand? So another aspect is data literacy. Another aspect is performance metric. Now, performance metrics is actually quite a large, it's a large topic to cover. We have a lot of metrics, As an HR person, we have metrics under recruitment, we have metrics under performance management, we have metrics under organizational development, we have metrics under which other aspect of HR? We have metrics under all aspects of HR. Even under HR administration, we have metrics under it as well. So having an understanding of all of this will now help you to know if your organization is a data-driven organization or you need to be the key performer to help your organization to build and become, the organization that works with data. Now, the next slide is saying introduction into HR analytics. We understand how data works. We understand what data is. We understand how data influences decision making. We understand how data helps the organization to correct inefficiencies and to work around creating an ecosystem for change. Now, we are now looking into HR analytics itself as a topic. What is HR analytics? What is HR? What is analysis? What exactly do we do in HR analysis? HR analysis is a form of data analysis that works with HR data. HR analysis is different from sales analytics. HR analysis is different from customer analytics. HR analysis is different from financial analytics. If you want to learn financial customer, those ones you can go for another course that explains that. But here we are treating HR analytics because we are working with HR data. For you to be able to come to a decision in regarding your people, for you to come to a decision in regarding aligning the goals of your organization with the goals of your staff, you need to, at a point or at most points of your career, work around analyzing HR related data. HR related data includes, okay, let me ask you guys. So what do you think in HR analytics? What kind of HR data do we analyze when we are analyzing HR data? What kind of HR data is worked with? Steve, I'm expecting a response from you. Ololade, I'm expecting a response from you. Isabella, who else has responded in the chat? Priska, I'm expecting a response from you as well. If you're not in the HR sector, please don't stress yourself. But if you are in the HR sector, I expect you to respond. So what kind of HR data do you think we work with? If you are analyzing data, I'm not seeing anybody typing. We don't have any HR personnel here. Okay, Taye Ogumakiwa is an HR. Okay, so Taye, you are an HR professional. So tell us, what kind of HR data do you think we can analyze?
There are different. Hi, how are you?
Hi,
Okay,
long time no see.
I'm telling you. Okay,
Yeah.
so the ones that you
Yeah,
can
it's been so-
analyze,
yeah.
it depends on what you. Okay, so for example, now let's say demographics, for example, if you want to know
Okay,
the
good.
number of males and females. Okay, so what may I do is, if I'm trying to make a decision for HMO, for example,
Yeah.
I know they have different packages for it, right? So if I find out that, okay, because in the current sector I work for, we have more females, but I need to be sure. So I will
Okay.
go for HMO plan that suits the female gender. Like, okay, for delivery, it needs to be part of the HMO. What I added now is this cervical screening, mammograms, and all of that. So that is the particular plan I went for. So if I find out that these HMO providers don't have it, they will have to design something that suits my staff. So it depends on the decision you want to make. You just don't analyze. Like sometimes if you want to do cost of living adjustment,
I lost you there.
Can you hear me?
You said it depends on what?
What decision you want to make for the business as at that time. That is what will determine the kind of data you want to. Can you hear me?
Ooh. Okay, now I think I can hear you now.
Okay, so I was saying that it depends on what decision you want to make. It depends on the decision you want to make. Sometimes if you want to do cost of living adjustment, for example, you need to do data around that thing so that you know, okay, this is what you want to present for the management. If you want to do your recruitment, for example, too, you need to know that job board where you get a particular talent that you're actually looking for. Because even when you post to different job sites, you need to know, okay, this is where you will get this kind of candidate pool. So it depends on what you want to do. So that is so there are different types of data analysis that you can use. Yeah, head count and all of that. Turnover rates and yep.
All right, so thank you very much, Madam Taiwo. Okay, that was well said. That was actually well said. Now, employee demography in terms of gender can work. It works. It's one major sector in terms where you are working with HR analytics. Isabella in the comment section has dropped 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She says employee turnover rate, headcount, employee demographics, yes. Retention and turnover rate, yeah. And then employee absence. Yes, all of these are ways to data that you can actually analyze as an HR. Now, I don't know, this network is giving me issues now. Okay, sorry, hold on. Let me try to fix. All right, so hold on, guys. Give me a minute, please. Okay, all right, we're back. All right, so since we already have established the type of data that we analyze as HRs, now let's look at types of analysis. Now, trainings, yes, thank you, Steve. Thank you very much, Steve. Steve has said trainings. Now, let me now say there are all of the aspects of HR can actually be a means of analysis, can give you insights from recruitment, from employees' age range, from department, to grades, to salary scale, to what is it called, to location in terms of the employee's house address. You can get HR data from distance. Let me give you an example. There was a time that I worked on the data for one of my friend who was looking into creating a business case for for them to actually bring about staff bus. Now, the data that we worked there with was staff distance to the office, because we were able to get, the distance of employees at that particular time to the office. We were able to now say, okay, let's work with this particular data. Let's see how old are these people that are coming from this distance. What level are they? What grade are they? How much are they earning? What's their average spend per day? So all of those data there are some data that you even need to generate out of the data that you have. Now that's one thing that we even need to look at. We'll be using that as well in the when we get to using Microsoft Excel. So there are data that come out of data that you already have. Data rebirths data. So if I have names of staff, I have their date of joining, I have their location where they stay. From these three collated data, I can get their age, their tenure in the system. I can get the distance from the office itself. So getting that particular data now helps us to build a business case to now push for the organization or push for suggestion for getting a staff bus. So I don't know if they've decided about that. I've not gotten back to him. He has not gotten back to me. But I'm just giving you guys an example of the kind of data you can work for. That you can use for anything you want to use it for. Just as Taiwo has said, before you can actually start analyzing the data, there have to be a reason. There have to be a reason for analyzing it before you start analyzing it. So if I say, okay, let's say, for example, you're going into a board meeting and they tell you, oh, I want to know the amount of junior staffs that you have. I want to know the amount of junior staffs that are older than 20. I want to know the amount of junior staff that are earning between this amount to this amount. So all of this data can be gotten from even a simple data itself. So now let's go back into the slide. We have types of data, that type of analysis, which is, oh, wait, can you all see the slide? Can we all see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you very much. So we have, as we can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 types that is being displayed here. There are so many types of data analysis, but these ones are the key ones that we are going to be using in today's training. Now we have the descriptive analysis. What does the descriptive analysis do? What the descriptive analysis does is that it describes a data set. I hope you understand what I'm saying. The descriptive analysis helps to describe a data set. It involves summarizing and describing HR data. You can either use statistical measures, which like mean, median, modes, standard deviation, frequency distribution, and so on. Now, this particular form of data provides a snapshot of historical data and helps us in understanding the current state of our HR metrics. Now, this one is just for us to say, oh, all right, this is what this is. This is the amount of people that we have. This is the amount of male. This is the amount of female. This is the amount of people in this department. This is the amount of people in the ICT department, in the HR department, in finance department. That's what descriptive analysis does. Now, prescriptive analysis means that you are prescribing, just like the word says, you are prescribing solutions. You are prescribing solutions to problems. I think predictive is actually supposed to even come first before this. Okay, so I think there's an error in the design, but then let's still go over it. So let's come to predictive analysis. Predictive analysis means that you are predicting what is to come. You have gotten the data, you have described the data, you have prescribed it, you have prescribed the problems, you have prescribed techniques, you have prescribed employee engagement, you have prescribed effective strategies, you have prescribed a method of reducing turnovers. Now, how do we predict what is to come? How do we predict HR trends? How do we predict employee turnover? It is working with the data that has been described, working with data that have been prescribed. That's how you now be able to predict HR data. Now, HR data here, we are working with trends. For you to predict HR data, you need to work with trend. You need to work with historical data before you can now say, okay, I think in the next 2 years, in fact, you're not even thinking, according to data, in the next 2 years, we are going to face an attrition rate of 7.5%. Now, how are you able to tell that? It's because you have been able to describe the data, to be able to collect the data, analyze the data, and use that particular data. So that's the third form of data analysis. The last aspect is diagnostic. Diagnostic involves identifying the root cause. Diagnostic involves identifying where the problem is. Diagnostic involves helping to understand why certain HR outcomes occurs, and it helps to provide insight into underlying factors or issues that you are facing, like turnover, performance issues, engagement challenges. So data analyzed can help you to formulate diagnostic style of analysis. It can also help you to formulate predictive style of analysis. It can also help you to formulate prescriptive style of analysis. So these are the major style of analysis that we have. Even as a data analyst, if you ask any data analyst, they'll tell you. If you ask a sales analyst, they'll tell you. If you come down to our HR sector, this is still the same form of analysis that we work with. Now, what are the objectives of HR analysis? Now, here I've listed 5, although there are more than 5, trust me. I've listed, okay, this ones are for data sources, apologies. So what are the objectives of data analysis? We have quite a lot. We have, sorry about that. Objectives, it can help you to get insight. It can help you to understand how to work with HR data. It can help you to understand how to formulate new policies. It can help you to understand how to create an efficient system that can work for your team. It can help you to understand how the team works and how the team would love to be in the next 4 years. It can help you to, modulate certain things, just like Taiwo said. It can help you to gain more insight into the data that you have. Now, what HR analysis looks forward to cover is to help the HR personnel understand its people, is to help the HR personnel understand the kind of system or create a kind of system that works with the value of the organization. If you have an organization that is a fast-paced organization, if you have an organization that is works with data, right, and you have staffs that are not aligning with those particular values of the organization, your place as the HR person is to create a sector or create an environment that that is befitting, that you would have to what's that word? You would have to build and create change in the hearts or the behavioral performance of your staff to align with the values of the organization. Remember that as an HR, your responsibility is to make sure that the value of the organization is in concurrence with, or the value of the organization aligns with the value of the people. At the moment where you get that there is a change or there is a downfall or there's a bottleneck in these two statements, then data is what helps you to now affix the values of the people to align with the value of the organization. Now, moving to the next topic, it says data sources and HR analytics. Now, this is where we might have more conversations. Now, you can get HR data from employee data, which includes, okay, hold on, please. Somebody's trying to, okay, somebody's trying to join. Let them in. So you can get HR data from employee data. You can get HR data from recruitment data. You can get HR data from engagement surveys. You can get from performance data. You can even get from external data source. Now, employee data includes, just like we have described before, their age range, their location, their department, their head, their managers, the amount they are earning, that's their monthly gross, either monthly gross, monthly net. These are ways for you to gather data. You can also gather data from recruitment, time of hire. Which other recruitment metrics do we have? We have time of hire, we have time to fill, we have most preferred source, and so on and so forth. So those are kind of data that you can get from recruitment data. Engagement survey, how can we help our employees feel more comfortable in the organization? How can we help employees fit in the organization more? How can we help them feel like they belong? An engagement survey is what you need to carry out. Engagement surveys are mostly done at the beginning of the year and at the mid of the year. Some you can do it at any time, notwithstanding. But for me, in a company, I carry out engagement survey at the beginning of the year where we analyze the previous year, satisfaction of the previous year, and what they are looking forward to get. Now, the purpose of engagement survey is to get or collate data on employee satisfaction. Know how your staff are satisfied. Understand to what level are you satisfying them in terms of people, in terms of culture. This is mostly the function of a people and culture person. This is mostly the function of a people and culture person, but as an HR person, you are likely and most likely, in fact, you are obligated to understand how your people work and align your people to the culture of the organization. Under this engagement survey, you can also get engagement levels, attitude of people or your staff towards the organization. So this data collection style or data source can help you to get insight into certain human related data. We also have performance data where you can be able to track employee performance over the years. You can be able to track employees' performance for a period. You might not even be able to, you can extend it to track departmental wide performance. Do you understand? This can help you to know, okay, what training does this department need? What training does this individual need? What training does this set of units need? So while you are analyzing the performance data, this will help to give you more insights into the kind of trainings, the kind of performance improvement plan, the kind of restructuring that needs to be done in that department or for that particular person. Remember, it can either be done individually or collectively. Now, an external data source is data gotten from organization outside your organization. External data source is, the purpose of external data source is to help you benchmark your system, to help you benchmark your processes, to help you benchmark your value proposition or however it is, your governance in your organization against a competition. It could be a competition of your organization. It might not even be a competition. Regardless, the purpose of this external data is to help you compare. Let's say, for example, you work in which sector can I use? You work in the financial sector, yeah, and then you are trying to create a business case for salary increment. Now, remember, we have different tiers of organization. We have the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. Now, if your organization is in the tier 3 and you want to get an external data source to help you analyze, to help you come to a decision making, you cannot say you want to benchmark a data and you are comparing your data or benchmarking your data as a tier 3 organization to an organization in tier 1. Now, if your the amount you earn, your revenue every year, comparing the revenue, your revenue cannot be the same as the revenue of a tier 1 organization. So if you are saying your total revenue is, let's say, 25 billion, and the revenue of a tier 1 organization is, let's say, 250 billion, and you are comparing your salary with the tier 1 organization, you need to put it into consideration. That's why I said at the beginning, before you analyze and come to a business case, you work with the financial department, work with the investment department, work with any other department that can help with building this business case. Now, for salary increment, you work with the financial department and the investment department. Do we have enough funds to increase people's salary by this particular percentage, benchmarking it against this particular company? Now, if my company is earning 25 billion naira per year, I mean, their revenue is 25 billion naira per year, I will now say, oh, we want to compare salary increment. We are comparing it to the likes of, let's use KPMG, for example. I don't know how much their revenue is per year, but if my company is earning 25 million per year, and we are now saying we want to increase salary, we now want to increase salary to beat or to benchmark against that of a tier 1 company that is earning 250 billion naira per year. It doesn't make any sense. Do you understand? So if you are going to be benchmarking, if either your processes, either your what's it called, in terms of cost, in terms of style, in terms of value, it needs to be benchmarked against companies that are the same tier as you or slightly above. If you are carrying out processes, you can benchmark it against those that are way above you. But then trust me that you would have more people talking in the system about how you are trying to force them to work hard and compare them to a bigger organization in terms of processes, but they are not seeing the value in terms of remuneration. So that's why it's advisable, if you're going to make benchmark processes, benchmark cost, it needs to be benchmarked against businesses in the same tier as your organization. So now, data sources, we have steps to analyzing HR data. Now, there are different ways that we can analyze data. This is the well-prepared method. You can't do one without doing the previous one. So this is the prerequisite to this. This is a prerequisite to this. I mean, this is a prerequisite to this. This is a prerequisite to this. Now, you have to define the objectives first. What exactly are you doing? Why are we analyzing this data? What exactly are we trying to get from this data? That's where this the defining of objective coming. You cannot work with HR data without defining the HR data. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you need to define your objectives. What do we want? Is it that we are trying to understand why we have more male in the system than we have more female? Is it that we are trying to understand why people are coming late to the office? Is it why we are trying to build a business case for salary increments? What exactly are we trying to do? Define the objectives first. Then you now identify key metrics. What metrics would help me to get this particular data? What metrics will help me to broaden this data? Remember that I said you can have 3 sets of data and build 15 different sets of data from that particular data. So identifying key metrics can help you to now express more. It can help you to listen to what the data is saying. It can help you to break down the data into different pieces. Now, there's now data collection. That's when you now start collecting your data. You now understand which source can I use to get this data. Am I going to get it from the employee data? Am I going to get it from recruitment data? Am I going to get it from the engagement survey? Am I going to get it from performance data? Am I going to get it from just putting out questionnaires? Am I going to get it from external source? Am I going to get it from carrying out a research? That's how you'll be able to know how to collect your data. Now you can now prepare the data, analyze the data, and now interpret the data, create a data visualization, then implement and evaluate. Implementation, evaluation, and consistent checkup, consistent follow-up is the final stage of the steps of HR analysis. Define your data objectives, identify key metrics, collect your data, prepare your data and analyze the same, interpret the data. That's when the data starts speaking to you, right? Remember, all of this, the data interpretation cannot work without collection. In fact, without defining, without identifying key metrics, without data collection, and without the data analysis. The way now you now visualize the is where you tell the story. Is where you now tell people that, okay, this is the reason why it's happening. This is the reason why it's happening. And implement and evaluate. Once you've already been able to get run the diagnostics of the data, you can now predict. You can now prescribe. All right. Evaluation now comes up. Once you've evaluated, you now follow up as well. Evaluation follow-up is on evaluation. So evaluation is something that happens consistently. If there's need for change, you can now go back to data collection and repeat the steps. Am I clear? Did everybody understand what I just explained? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much.
We can hear you.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, so we've already understood the steps to HR analysis. Now we are going to be looking at tools for analyzing data. I think that's different types of tools that we can use. Whichever one works best for you. Most of them actually do different functions. Microsoft Excel now, for example, Microsoft Excel is the most popular tool that is used by HR analysts to work with our data, because it helps you to store data, it helps you to easily analyze the same, and you can also perform even the form of visualization, the function of visualization on Microsoft Excel, but it takes a longer time compared to Power BI or Tableau. Now, Microsoft Excel is good because the formulas are not difficult to learn. They might seem complicated, but when you understand how it works, trust me, it's very, very interesting. Now you have SQL. SQL is also a good data for data analysts and anybody who is trying or looking forward to analyzing data. We also have R. R also does the same function for data analysis. And then there's Python. Hold on, give me a minute. So there's R. There's also Python. And so the function of Python 2 is also to work around all of this. They are more of programming tools. Python, R, SQL are more of programming tools, but they can also be used for what's it called? They can also be used for analyzing your data. We also have Tableau for visualization. We have Power BI for visualization. I think we will have to do a course for Power BI as well, so that we can know how to, easily visualize. But for today, we are going to be working with Microsoft Excel, because that's what people work with the most. That's the tool that is more, how do I put it, that is more popular. So we also have Panda. Panda is also a data analytical tool. So since we already have all of this, I think we would now be moving to data collection techniques. Now, just as previously described, you can either get data from HR database, you can get from surveys, you can get from interview and focus groups. Do you know that? I don't know if any of you carry out exit interviews in your organization. In fact, you need to be carrying out exit interviews. I'll be surprised if anybody as an HR person doesn't carry out exit interviews. So you can get data from exit interviews. You can get data from even interviews itself. The kind of data you can get from interviews are the initial performance of the staff that you're bringing on board. How was this performance? How staff performing? How was his response to certain question at the beginning? When we were asking him how many years, or was your 5-year goal with the company? What was his statement? What did he say? What was his response? So if the person did not now use up to 5 years, then you now go back to the interview data. What must have happened? What must have changed? Was it that this person did not gain? Imagine a person telling you that, the only thing that can make me stay in a company is if the company is willing to train us, send us out of the country or even anywhere for training. Okay, so Isabella says they carry out exit interviews. So if the person at the beginning, at the initial stage tells you, the only reason I will stay in your organization is if I'm being trained on a regular basis, my work-life balance is being paid attention to, and you got those data at the initial stage. And in the long run, it's not seeing all of these things that have been stated at the initial stage. And he leaves in less than 2 years. You now want to start tracking, okay, why are people leaving? You go back to the initial interviews of people. I'm not saying don't go back to the interviews of all the staff that you've interviewed, all the applications that you've gotten. The interview data you're going to be working with is for the staff that were hired. I don't know if you understand me, because if you are going through interviews, I mean, of staffs, of all the applicants that you've gotten, for this data that you're trying to analyze, you could use that if you're trying to see, or if you're trying to track the trends of your interview process. If you want to know how your interview process is, you can use your interview feedbacks, responses from applicants that you have interviewed. Those ones are kind of data, are the data that you can work with if you're trying to see your application process trends. But for the purpose of knowing why people are not staying, this can also help. Focus groups, you have data collection techniques of performance management, you have human resource information system. There are different types of human resource information systems. You have Zoho, you have Seamless HR, you have like my Oga, Mr. Madam Taiwo, you know that we have Orion, we have Unis, we have what's it called? What's the last one again? Verdi. You have a lot of HR information system that will help you. In fact, this one will help you to store data, collect data, but you have to put in the data manually. Collect data to a point. It helps you to analyze the same data. If you are using Seamless HR, for example, you would see at the interface, the first interface you would meet with is the analytical aspect of all of the data that's been imputed into the system, but it needs to be done manually. So there's the HRIS for data collection, and then there's the attendance. I don't know who made reference to attendance at the beginning. There was one person that was talking about collection of attendance and all of that. Yes, this is one of the methods of getting data as well. There was a time when I was working with an FMCG. While I was working with an FMCG, we stayed up till like 9 p.m. at night because we were trying to work around getting the list of staffs that are perpetual latecomers. So because we have, if you are the kind of organization that uses what's it called, paper and biro, you register, you come in, you write your name, right time, right, that is not effective enough. If you have a software that reads attendance, that reads your time, that reads as you clock in and clock out, it's easier to analyze that kind of data. But if you are working with paper and biro, it would be very difficult for you to work around that. So because we had a system that reads attendance and takes time, it became easier for us to work. That easier, we still closed by 9. So imagine if you are using paper and biro to track attendance, you want to now track attendance. So the purpose of doing this attendance tracking is for us to know who are perpetual latecomers. You see, we have already started by understanding the reason why the data is to be carried out. Now, what steps can we take? What metrics can we do? That's where we now say, okay, this is the metric, attendance and time is the data collection we've used. Then we collected the data, we worked on the data, and then we interpreted the same and used it to make core decision. I think we deducted like 2,000 naira or something. Then there was a policy that was created that led to deduction, and the staff are now aware that if you come later than 9 o'clock, then you would be deducted of this particular amount. So you see how data works, you see how data plays necessary role. So we have recruitment and ATS as well. Okay, I can see Mr. Samuel's face. Hello, Mr. Samuel, how are you doing? All right, so we also have recruitment data collection techniques in terms of ATS. Now, this is an applicant track system to help you to analyze data in terms of your recruitment process. It helps you to know who is the best recruiter, what is the best source, how quick did it take you, how fast did it take you to recruit this particular role, which role took the longest, which source took the longest, and so on and so forth. So all of these are methods of gathering data. All of these are methods of understanding how data analytics work. So we have come to the end of the theoretical aspects, as I've explained before. Now we understand how data works. Now we understand the purpose of data. Now we understand how to use data for the purpose of which we want to use it. We understand these steps so that it doesn't become difficult for us to work with when we are starting our HR analytics journey. So I don't know, do you want us to jump into the use of Microsoft Excel now, or we get like a 10 to 20 minutes break and then come back to it? Because I need to know what you guys what you would most likely want. So would you be more interested in letting us start the work with Microsoft Excel now, or we give it a 10 minutes, or those of you that need to load up okay, you know what, we are going to wait an extra 10 minutes, load up the data that has been shared in the chat. If you don't have the data, please drop it. 10 minutes break is cool for me. Okay, so a 10 minutes break is cool for Steve. Does anybody else is align with that thought? If you think 10 minutes is cool, drop it in the chat so that we can have a 10 minutes break for you to load up the data that was sent. If you don't have the data, please let me know. Let me resend it so that you're not left behind while I am working. Okay, somebody's saying, please, we need the data. All right, let me reshare this data sample. Hold on, please. Okay. 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 It's uploading. What is wrong with Teams? All right. So it has been shared again. Okay, Jude, you don't have the data. All right, so take your time. We are going to come back in the next 10 minutes. Open up the data sample and just relax while we fall back to the HR. Now, the HR data sample that has been created is a sample. We are not working with any organization's data sets. We are not working with any organization's data sets. We are not working with any company's data set at all. It's just a sample that has been generated by myself. And I'll be teaching you guys how to do the same, how to generate random HR data that you can use for practice while you're, trying to build your HR analytics skills. So go ahead, open up your data, and we will now be using this particular data against a board request. Now, remember that I said we cannot start HR analysis, we cannot start data and analyzing data without a reason. So there's a board request. They're asking us to display certain data. They're asking us to work around certain data, which is what we are going to be doing in the next 10 minutes. So once it's 10:52, we would resume to working with the Microsoft Excel. I hope I'm clear, and that's well explanatory enough. Was that clear enough, Mr. Steve, Aminat, Samuel, Damilola, Gabriel, Oluwakem,
Yes, it
Solapo?
is.
Okay, I needed to be sure if
Yes,
it was so that we are on the same page. Okay, thank you very much, Oluwakem Sola. So we'll come back. All right, thank you very much. We'll come back in the next 10 minutes. Please have the data opened up so that we can go through the same.